You are standing in your room. Nothing unusual. The same walls, the same quiet air, the same feeling that the world is stable, familiar, predictable. Now think about space, not the romantic version with stars and soft darkness, but the real one, cold, empty, silent beyond anything your brain is built to understand. Between Mars and Jupiter, there is a gap, a wide ring of space you cannot see from Earth without a telescope. It looks empty to the naked eye, just darkness between two bright points in the sky. But emptiness is a trick, because in that empty space, there are hundreds of thousands of rocks, some the size of mountains, some larger than entire countries. This is the asteroid belt, and even that name makes it sound more solid than it really is. If you gathered everything inside it, every asteroid, every fragment, every piece of dust and pressed it together, it would not even form a small planet, just a moon-sized object at best. Pause here for a moment, because this is the first shock. Something in your mind probably expected a dense field, a dangerous zone, a crowded highway of rocks. It is not. It is mostly nothing. Vast distances between objects. So much space that spacecraft have passed through it without hitting anything at all. You are not looking at a belt. You are looking at failure, or maybe absence. A question the solar system left behind. Scientists once wondered if this gap was supposed to hold something more, a planet that never fully formed, or a planet that was destroyed. A name was given to that idea, Phaeton, a lost world between Mars and Jupiter. A world that might have existed only in fragments now drifting in silence. But there is a problem. Space does not leave clean stories, and nothing about this region behaves like a simple accident. So the question begins to form slowly, like a shadow stretching across light. Was there ever a planet here at all? Or are we trying to fill emptiness with imagination? Keep that question with you, because the deeper we go, the less familiar everything becomes. And the silence between Mars and Jupiter is not empty. It is waiting. Now leave Earth behind, not physically, just in your mind. Picture the inner solar system shrinking. Earth becomes a pale dot. Mars fades into a reddish spark. The sun still burns bright, but even it starts to feel distant. You move outward, past Mars, into the region where the asteroid belt begins. And this is not a wall. It is a zone roughly between 2.1 and 3.3 astronomical units from the Sun. 1 astronomical unit is the distance from Earth to the Sun, about 150 million kilometers. So this region stretches hundreds of millions of kilometers wide and still feels empty. Here is the first real comparison. If you placed all the asteroids in the main belt together, their total mass would be about 4% of Earth's moon. Not a planet. Not even close. Just scattered leftovers. Shock hits here again, because this is not what belt suggests. It suggests density. But spacecraft like NASA's missions have traveled through it without dodging constant collisions. Space is not crowded here. It is isolated. Each rock lives in its own vast territory of emptiness. Now meet the largest object in the belt. Ceres, a dwarf planet about 940 kilometers across, large enough that gravity pulled it into a sphere, small enough that it never became a true planet. Ceres alone holds about 1/3 of the entire asteroid belt's mass. Let that settle. One object, 1/3 of everything, and still smaller than Earth's moon. You are now standing in a region where planet almost happened, but didn't. Another fact lands quietly, but heavily. Jupiter, just beyond this region, is more than 300 times the mass of Earth. Its gravity does not just sit there, it shapes space around it. It pulls, it disturbs, it prevents. Early in the solar system's history, that gravitational influence may have stopped material in the asteroid belt from forming into a planet. Not destruction, prevention, a world that never assembled. Now imagine the idea of Phaeton again, a planet that once existed here, broken apart, lost. But modern science does not support a single shattered planet as the source of the asteroid belt. The composition of asteroids does not match a single unified body. They are too varied, too different, like fragments from many different origins, not one. So the story becomes more complex, not a death, but a construction that never completed. Still, fragments remain, and fragments always make the mind wonder. Here is a gut-feeling moment. If you were standing on Ceres, the sun would look smaller than from Earth. Still bright, still powerful, but distant enough that it feels like a different star entirely. You would be inside a sky that belongs to emptiness. No big moons filling the view. No planets dominating the horizon. Just silence above and below. And then another realization arrives slowly. You are not in a missing planet zone. You are in a gravitational conversation that never finished speaking. Jupiter pulling outward, Mars pulling inward. Countless small bodies trapped in between, never allowed to become more. A question forms again, sharper this time. If something here never became a planet, why does it still feel like something was lost? And deeper still, what does it mean when a solar system has a place where creation almost happened but stopped? Keep moving, because now we go further out, where scale stops feeling human entirely. Now step back again, farther than the asteroid belt. Look at the solar system as a whole. 4 inner planets, rocky worlds, close to the sun, built from heat and metal and dust. Then the gap, then Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, gas and ice giants, massive enough to reshape orbital paths, powerful enough to define structure across billions of kilometers. And between them all, the asteroid belt sits like a scar that never fully healed. But science does not describe it as damage, it describes it as outcome. A region where gravity, time, and material density never aligned into a planet. Still, the idea of Phaeton lingers in human thought, because the mind prefers stories of loss over stories of unfinished formation. A destroyed world feels meaningful. A never-born world feels empty in a different way. But emptiness is not absence of importance. It is structure shaped by forces too large to see directly. Here is something real. The solar system formed about 4.6 billion years ago. That number is not just history. It is deep time beyond human imagination. If Earth's entire history were compressed into a single year, all human civilization would exist in the final few seconds before midnight on December 31st. Now imagine the asteroid belt forming in that same timeline. Slow collisions, failed accretion, gravity shaping and unshaping paths over millions of years. Nothing fast, nothing dramatic in human terms, just patient physics. And still, here you are, looking at it from a small planet, orbiting a medium star, inside a galaxy with hundreds of billions of other stars. The universe does not care about missing planets. It does not preserve what could have been. It only preserves what is stable enough to remain. So maybe Phaeton is not a lost world. Maybe it is a human reflection, a way of seeing patterns in silence, a way of turning scattered rock into a story we can hold. But the asteroid belt remains, real, measured, explored by spacecraft that pass through its emptiness without fear. And still, when you look at it long enough, it does not feel empty. It feels paused, as if something once tried to become whole there, and stopped. Now pull back one last time. Earth becomes a pale dot again. The sun becomes one star among countless others in the Milky Way. And even the Milky Way becomes just one structure among billions of galaxies. In that scale, the asteroid belt is almost nothing. And yet it is there, quiet, persistent, unfinished. And so the final thought arrives without force, not as an answer, but as a recognition. Some places in the universe are not broken. They are just where creation did not finish writing itself. And somewhere between Mars and Jupiter, that unfinished sentence still orbits the sun in silence.